The United States and Iran stand at the brink of a serious military confrontation. President Trump has signaled readiness for military action against Iran following the breakdown of nuclear negotiations and Iran's support of proxy groups in the Middle East. President Trump has issued a clear ultimatum to Iran: negotiate a new nuclear deal or face military consequences. This represents a continuation of his hardline approach from his first term when he withdrew from the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA. The United States has begun positioning strategic military assets within striking distance of Iran. B-2 Spirit, stealth bombers deployed to Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean, approximately 3,000 miles from Iran. F-35 Joint Strike Fighters, potentially heading to bases near the Middle East. Ongoing bombing campaigns against Iran-backed Houthi militants in Yemen. Iran claims readiness for potential conflict. Underground missile facilities showcased in state media. Multi-layered air defense systems, including the Bava 373. Medium-range defensive systems positioned strategically throughout the country. The conflict centers around Iran's nuclear program. Iran began violating the JCPOA after U.S. withdrawal. Uranium enrichment increased from 3.67% to 60%. Current enrichment levels approach weapons-grade capability. Trump's strategy includes economic warfare. Previous sanctions reduced Iran's oil exports from 2.5 million barrels per day to 500,000. Annual revenue loss of approximately $53 billion. Threat of secondary sanctions against countries doing business with Iran. The Middle East stands on the precipice of another major conflict. Washington has delivered its most forceful warning yet to Tehran, and military assets are already being positioned for potential strikes. President Williams has issued what analysts are calling a final warning to the Iranian regime. This comes after months of escalating tensions and Tehran's defiance of international pressure regarding its nuclear program. "We've tried diplomacy for nearly 2 years," the president stated in a televised address. "If Iran continues enriching uranium beyond agreed levels, they leave us no choice but to consider all options on the table." Intelligence reports suggest Iran has now enriched uranium to 70% purity, dangerously close to the 90% threshold needed for weapons-grade material. This represents a clear violation of the nuclear agreement that President Williams attempted to restore after taking office. The Pentagon has confirmed the deployment of 4 B-1 Lancer bombers to Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, approximately 150 miles from Iranian territory. Additionally, 2 carrier strike groups led by the USS Roosevelt and USS Lincoln have entered the Persian Gulf, putting Iran within immediate striking distance. "These are defensive positioning moves," claimed Defense Secretary Johnson. "But they also demonstrate our resolve and capability to act if necessary." Military analysts note that over 20 F-22 Raptor stealth fighters have also arrived at bases in Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates in recent weeks. These aircraft would likely lead the first wave of any potential strike package against Iranian air defenses and nuclear facilities. Iran's supreme leader has dismissed the American ultimatum as empty threats from a declining power. In a defiant speech broadcast on state television, he declared, "Our nation has withstood 45 years of American hostility and will continue to defend its sovereignty." The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps has conducted large-scale military exercises in the Persian Gulf, showcasing their anti-ship missile capabilities and naval forces. Military parades in Tehran have displayed what Iran claims are advanced air defense systems capable of detecting and destroying American stealth aircraft. "We have prepared for this moment for decades," stated the IRGC commander. "Our underground facilities are impenetrable, and our missiles can reach any aggressor in the region." The conflict has already expanded beyond direct US-Iran confrontation. In Yemen, American forces have conducted over 30 airstrikes against Houthi positions in the past 2 weeks. The Houthis, widely believed to receive weapons and training from Iran, have disrupted global shipping through the Red Sea with drone and missile attacks. Similarly, Iranian-backed militias in Iraq and Syria have increased attacks on American bases. 3 U.S. contractors were killed last week when rockets struck a logistics center near Baghdad International Airport. Iran's fingerprints are all over these attacks, said the US Special Envoy. They're using proxies to test our resolve while maintaining deniability. Beyond military positioning, Washington has implemented what some call Maximum Pressure 2.0, a comprehensive sanctions regime targeting not just Iran, but any country continuing to purchase Iranian oil. Countries have a choice, explained the Treasury Secretary. They can do business with the United States or with Iran, but not both. The sanctions have devastated Iran's economy, with inflation reaching 70% and oil exports falling to approximately 300,000 barrels per day, down from 2 million barrels before the crisis began. This represents a loss of approximately $40 billion in annual revenue. International diplomatic efforts have failed to de-escalate the situation. European mediators proposed a temporary freeze. Iran would halt enrichment at current levels while sanctions would be partially lifted to allow humanitarian goods. Both sides have rejected compromise, lamented the UN Secretary General. We are witnessing a dangerous game of brinkmanship with potentially catastrophic consequences for the entire region. Russia and China have warned against military action, with Moscow threatening to provide Iran with advanced air defense systems if attacks appear imminent. However, neither country has offered concrete proposals to resolve the underlying nuclear dispute. As military assets continue to position and diplomatic channels narrow, analysts believe a decision point will arrive within weeks, not months. The president has set clear red lines, and Iran shows no sign of backing down, noted a former national security advisor. The question now isn't whether conflict can be avoided entirely, but whether it can be limited once it begins. Will cooler heads prevail? Or is the Middle East headed toward another devastating conflict? The world watches and waits as two determined adversaries inch closer to confrontation.